On Wednesday, Russia reportedly fired a missile towards Poland, which landed in the nation's eastern region and exploded, killing 2 people in the process. If what is being reported is accurate, then this is the first time that Russian weaponry has landed on a NATO territory since Russia invaded Ukraine. The Ukrainian president, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, referred to the strike as a very major escalation of the war. According to a report by the press, which was based on information obtained from a senior source in the United States, the missile attacks took place at the same time as Russia was hitting Ukrainian energy installations throughout the nation with its greatest volley of missiles yet. The incident took place on a farm around 15 kilometers inside of Poland's border. According to Polish Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki, the administration is conducting an investigation and increasing its readiness on the military front. According to a statement released by the Polish Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the missile was manufactured in Russia. But President Andrzej Duda was more cautious regarding its provenance, noting that authorities did not know for certain who launched it or where it was made. He said that it was most certainly manufactured in Russia, but that information is still being validated. In the meanwhile, NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg convened an emergency meeting of the alliance's envoys to consider the events that have taken place close to the border between Poland and Ukraine. In their statement, Poland did not address the circumstances surrounding the attack, such as whether or not it may have been the result of a targeting mistake, or whether or not the missile could have been deflected by Ukrainian missile defenses. If Russia had purposefully targeted Poland, it would run the danger of bringing the whole 30-nation alliance into the fight. According to reports from Polish media outlets, the attack took place in a region of Shepherds, a hamlet located close to the border with Ukraine, where grain was drying. After calling for an emergency meeting of the Group of 7 and NATO leaders in Indonesia on Wednesday morning to discuss the attack in Poland that left 2 people dead in the eastern portion of the country, close to the border with Ukraine, President Joe Biden gave the following statement. It is unlikely in the lines of the trajectory that it was fired from Russia, but we'll see. I'm going to make sure we figure out exactly what happened, then we're going to figure out our next step. Will it trigger a full-blown war between Russia and the NATO countries? France has said that the activation of Article 5 will not be triggered by Russian involvement. A senior French source said that even if it were proven that Russia was behind the hit, NATO's Article 5 would not be automatically invoked. The official added that no one wants an escalation with Russia that may prove to be very deadly. The official said that the events that occurred in Poland have not been fully explained, and that locating a missile does not establish who launched it, since numerous nations have access to the same kind of weaponry. Article 5 of the North Atlantic Treaty, which is NATO's founding document, says that any attack on a NATO member in Europe or North America shall be considered an attack against them all. Once a member uses the treaty's principle of collective self-defense, NATO can come to its aid by taking any action it deems necessary, including the use of armed force, to restore and maintain the security of the North Atlantic area. But that doesn't mean that any attack on a NATO member automatically starts a state of war. Joel Rubin, who used to be a Deputy Assistant Secretary of State, said, "It's not like pulling a trigger. It doesn't mean that tomorrow every single country in NATO responds with a full military invasion of Russia." He also said that, if you think about it, if it's a trigger mechanism, you've given Russia all control over the battlefield. They decide when there is a war. They decide whether or not we get involved. No, we have control. We have agency over what our actions are. When Article 5 is used, it is meant to be diplomatic. It gives the alliance the time and diplomatic tools it needs to be able to respond to an attack on its own terms. It gives options for a Polish response. It doesn't give requirements. Before anything else, Poland will have to find out why the Russian missiles went over Ukraine. In order to calibrate the reaction, it is first necessary to determine why this occurred and if it was a test or a precursor to more serious attacks.